Hello everyone, it's Shanna. Now today we have got the Berry Fields border and the Vivid Script Sentiments from Spellbinders. And I'm also showing the better press plate that we used the other day. But I thought I was going to use it, but I'm just going to use the other two. I'm going to use the Berry Fields border and then the Vivid Script Sentiments, and we're just going to create a card. Now, I was just having just a crafty, fun play. And I was taking my Better Press inks and just figuring out what colors they were, because I was thinking I was going to use my Better Press. And I was using a white piece of paper just to put them down. And I had a strip of collar, and I decided to run that die, the Berry Fields border die, on it. And I liked it so much that I just kept putting the ink down and creating additional borders for it. So that's what we're working with here today. And you can see up above where I've die cut all those pieces out. Now, right now what I'm doing is I'm taking the border edge die, and I'm just taking this kind of bluish purple pattern paper, and I'm just cutting the edge on that at my die cutting machine. So we've got that cut out, and I apologize for my arm there. I don't know what I was reaching for, but anyway, I kind of made a little edge on there with my die cutting machine. So I'm using my little score board tool to just flatten it out. And then we're just going to take our rainbow colored die cut images and just kind of line them up on our panel and just kind of layer them up. And some of them are longer and some of them are smaller. It was just depending on how much paper I had left to ink blend on, because I was just using scraps. But we have enough here that we can lay 4 of them. I actually have 5 pieces, but one's not long enough, just based upon how my my little frame at the bottom is. So I'm just going to kind of line them up together, and we'll get them all laid down, and we will create a panel here. I'm going to take this one, the one all the way, I'm going to put the one on the bottom, then I'm going to go all the way up to the top, and then we'll fill the middle in. So this is one of those that just has all the little bits and pieces there, and so I'm going to use a puddle to glue it up. And if you've watched my channel at all, you've seen me do this before. Now, I had done some vinyl cutting, and this is just some vinyl backing sheets, so it's very slick, and it's actually a good thing to use for this puddling technique. So I put some glue on there, and I'm easily just swiping my little die cut through there so that I can get glue on each little area of it. I will have to kind of touch up some areas, but for the most part, we got it pretty well glued down. And I'm just going to do that with all of my pieces. Now, I've done the bottom, and I think I'm going to go up to the top. I like when I have something where I'm trying to space it, a lot of times I'll do the bottom first, and then the top first, and then I'll backfill so that I can just figure out what the distance is between each layer so that I can kind of get it even. I don't think I do a great job on it today, but it definitely turns out to where we have a really nice workable card. So I'm just going to drag it through my puddle of glue again and just make sure all my areas get covered. And I am wiping my fingers off as I go to try and get some of the sticky off, so that I don't make a mess of it. So when I draw my hands back, I'm cleaning them. And then I'm going to lay the next layer down and just kind of eyeball where I want it, and put the other one in there and try to get kind of an even arrangement. That's not even, but I'm just trying to get a ballpark. So I'm going to create some more glue puddle here so that we can drag both of the other two through there. And to me, this is just the easiest way when you've got a real intricate piece, so you don't have to get every little line. You can just kind of drag it through a puddle of glue and get plenty of glue down to where it will stay. And then you can just kind of touch up any spots that you need to, and it just kind of gets a nice layer of glue on there, and it doesn't make too big of a mess. And I'm not concerned that I have purple on one, pink on the other, and that they're not lining up exactly. I don't, it's all, we're going to have a lot of color in here, and I don't really care. Now, here's the piece I don't think I got down very straight. I moved it a little bit. It doesn't look as bad, but we're going to let that dry, and I'm going to clean off my desk, and then we'll trim them down. Okay, so off camera, I got my desk cleaned off, and I'm just going to bring my scissors in, and we're just going to run along, and you can see I need to trim off the top and, both the sides, because my die cut piece kind of went off the edge of the paper at the top, so I just laid it on a line that was all the right way across, and then I'm just going to trim it off. And that will be nice. And there we go. We've got our panel. I think it looks really pretty. I guess I've been on a rainbow kick lately. I did that bougie birthday cake in rainbow, and it turned out beautiful, and I really loved it. So I decided to work with some more rainbow tonight. So I'm bringing in a top folding card base, and I'm just scoring it at 5.5 and giving it a good press. And then this will be our card base. And I was kind of trying to decide if I wanted the white to show at the bottom, but I did kind of leave it to where the white was showing at the bottom. And I do trim it off so we got a little bit of edge on either side of that, because I thought since we had the white at the bottom, we might as well have some edge on the sides. And I didn't have a real clean edge on one of the sides anyway, so I thought it would be good to go ahead and bring in my trimmer and to trim it off. And I actually do that after I lay this down on the card base. So I saw a little piece there that wasn't glued down, so I added some glue. And we'll get this laid down, and then we'll do some trimming to make it look even, I guess. I got ahead of myself talking about the trimming. One of the edges of the purpley blue panel is kind of rough, and that's where I decided to kind of trim it down. And I could see a little bit of white on the other side too, and so I'm going to trim both sides down eventually. But I think it's really pretty overall. Just touching up any area that needs some glue, and I'm sorry I'm kind of at the top of the screen there. And I've got another piece, and I thought, could I trim that away and put it on the inside or whatever? But I decided not to do that. And so here I've got the piece that I've die cut out the sentiments in. I've got the shadow portion, and then I've got the rainbow portion. And I'm going to bring those in and just kind of lay those aside. We've got congrats and best wishes. And I think those two sentiments go well together. And the congrats is in two pieces. And I've decided to use this purple panel for the inside of my card. And I've got a white piece that I'm going to layer up. It's just a little too big, so I'm going to have to trim it down so that it doesn't stick out. And I should have trimmed from the top, but I trimmed from the bottom. That was my mistake. And I'm going to get this laid down on the panel. And I'm going to have to do some finagling with it. And I'm holding it really lightly, and I keep dropping it. Just getting some glue all the way around. We'll get it laid down on there. And I've got it upside down. And then I've got a white panel that I thought would cover it perfectly. I thought I had measured it, and I don't know when I cut it off, I don't know. I cut off the wrong side, and so I'm uneven. And I'm just going to lay it down on there and kind of push it over to where it's somewhat even. And then I'll bring in some rainbow strips to kind of fill in. There's just a tiny, you can just see a smidge of die cut on both sides. And so I'm going to bring this rainbow blend that I cut the sentiments out of, and I'm just going to trim a little strip off. The first one I get is too small. And then the next one's good. And then I'll have to do a third one once I figure out that the first one was too small. But I'll lay this down on the side, and it will cover up the die cut pieces and add a little bit of rainbow on the inside. Sometimes we have to be creative when we make mistakes, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I mean, I do a lot of videos and stuff, but I'm by no means a professional. I'm just an amateur that is having fun and making videos of what I'm doing. So I'm going to snip this off, and because the other one's too small, I'm going to have to cut another piece. We've got like 1/4 of an inch and 1/8 of an inch, and I want them to match. So I'm going to bring this in and see if I can get another strip about the same and cut it off, and we'll use it. And we'll just lay some glue on here, and then we'll cut it off just like we did the other one. I'm not going to worry about the tops and bottoms. I'll kind of look at it, but I really don't have enough of that ink blended panel to do the tops and bottoms, so we'll just do the sides. and lay that down on there. And here's where I'm looking at it thinking, well, I could do a piece here, but I don't have enough for both, so I'm just going to leave it alone. It's not exactly right, but this is a handmade card. It's not machine made, so it's not perfect. And I'm still debating on trimming off that edge there, but I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to get my sentiments assembled, and I've got congrats and best wishes. We're going to create a puddle for this as well because they're very fine sentiments. We'll drag them through and lay them down on their shadow. I've got wishes. I'm just going to clean it off with my fingers and get it laid down on here. It lays down really nice. It's a beautiful sentiment shadows set. And I'm just using my tweezers to kind of help me get everything laid down to where we've got a nice border all the way around. And I'm like, is this going to work on here? Because we've got the same theme, but we'll come up with something that works. Now we're going to put best down, and I've got some little die cut pieces that need to be poked out of the centers, and we're going to drag it through our petal, and we'll get it laid down on our shadow. And it really looks pretty. I love the rainbow. I haven't really done very many rainbow type things on my channel, and I did the other day and I was in love with it, so I thought I'd do it again. So I've got the CONGR, and I need to do the ATS and add that. For some reason they made that sentiment in two pieces. So we'll drag it through and we'll get it laid down. And it really lays down easily. Now my fingers are getting good and gluey, so I'm wiping them off camera. Just trying to mop up the glue with my fingertips. And I have a good space of purple here, so I thought I could lay that in between there. So we'll just get some glue on the back of this and we'll get it laid down. And I think it shows up okay right there on the purple. Just trying to get it evened up. I thought, oh, it's a little crooked. But that G was on there good and there was no moving it, so I just went with it. And I'm just going to take my best wishes and put it on the inside. Oh, we've got our berries here. And so I've die cut all these berry pieces out in all of our rainbow colors, and I'm just going to get them laid down here on our little berry areas. And the little berry has a little tiny little like circle die cut out in the center of the berry. And I'm just going to get them all laid down on here. This is a little bit fussy because you've got all these little pieces and you've got to get them turned over and laid down on the appropriate area. But I think it's a fun element. This does take a little bit of time to do, so I really sped this up, and I'm just going to get them all laid down on there. And then we will get the rest of our sentiments laid down on our card and we'll be good to go. I'm just using a little triangle tray to keep all my pieces parts together. And I've got my little stick and poke tool, and I'm just going to pick up and stick tool, and I'm just going to get them all laid down on here. And this will finish it off. And there's 3 berries like on each little scallop. And this will just finish it up. And we're going to get our sentiment and we're going to lay it down on the inside of the card. And I'm probably 1/8 of an inch off, and I understand that, but sometimes these things happen, and I want to make the most of my card panels. So this is Spellbind, or no, that was Michael's cardstock. So I'm just going to put best wishes on the inside, and I have got like a congratulatory card in which I'm wishing somebody very well with whatever they are doing. So I'm going to get it laid down on here and just give it a good press. And this is where I trim it up. I'm like, I've got a rough edge on here and I don't like it. I'm going to get my trimmer and just bring it in. I've got some purple cardstock showing at the bottom, and I've got that rough edge on one side. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and trim the other side off. and it's pretty thick, so I'm gonna have to give it a pretty good press. And I was checking because the one side it was a little too wide on, and I thought I would even it up if I cut it off. So I'm gonna have to give it a good press, and then I'm gonna go along the top and get that little bit of purple off there. I think I pretty much evened it up, so it's not quite so bad where my centering was off. And then just take that little piece off the top there. And I think we've got a pretty decent card now. So this is our finished card, and I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.